The glow of the ring light illuminated his face, the same face thousands of subscribers tuned in to see week after week. His channel wasn't extraordinary by YouTube standards. No million-dollar sponsorships, no viral stunts, but it was real. He vlogged about his life, his struggles, his thoughts on relationships, and sometimes even shared late-night streams where fans said he felt like a friend. To his viewers, he was charismatic, relatable, and trustworthy. He wasn't just creating content, he was building a community, and they adored him for it. But behind the easy laughs and perfectly edited montages, a different reality was brewing. Close friends noticed he had become restless, almost paranoid. His uploads slowed down, his captions grew darker, and in his live streams, his eyes darted around the room like he was being watched. Most fans dismissed it as stress, burnout, maybe even a cry for help. YouTube was notorious for pushing creators to their breaking point, but those closest to him knew something more sinister was at play. He was carrying a secret, one so heavy, it leaked into every word he spoke, every smile he forced. On camera, he told jokes. Off camera, he barely slept. Then came the first hint, an offhand remark during a live Q&A. Someone asked, "What's the craziest thing you've ever done?" He chuckled nervously, staring at the screen too long before replying. "Let's just say, I've done something I'll never forgive myself for." The chat filled with laughing emojis. His fans assumed he was joking, playing into YouTube's love of clickbait drama. But the flicker in his eyes told a different story. It wasn't a joke. It was a crack in the mask he had built. What no one knew, yet, was that his guilt was eating him alive. And soon, the very platform that made him famous would become the stage for his confession. At first, it was small things, hardly noticeable unless you watched closely. His uploads grew inconsistent. Some videos were upbeat and polished, the way they had always been. Others felt rushed, almost chaotic, as though he had filmed them in the middle of the night and hit upload without a second thought. Fans noticed. Comments filled with concern started to pop up beneath his vlogs. "Are you okay? You seem different. Take a break. We'll still be here when you're back." But instead of pulling away, he leaned in closer. His content became darker, more personal. Where he once filmed cheerful coffee shop runs or lighthearted Q&As, he now spoke about guilt, morality, and the weight of secrets. In one video, he sat in front of the camera, shoulders hunched, eyes rimmed red like he hadn't slept in days. He titled it, "We All Have Demons." For 15 minutes, he rambled about choices that can't be undone. Sometimes, he whispered into the lens, "You wake up and realize you're not the person you thought you were." Sometimes you do something, and it follows you, no matter how far you run, no matter how much you smile on camera, it's still there. His audience thought it was just content, an artistic expression of mental health struggles, maybe even clickbait. A few fans speculated that he was setting up a new storytelling series, something scripted. After all, this was YouTube. Drama sold. But behind the screen, his world was unraveling. His friends said he had become obsessed with filming, not because he wanted views, but because he felt like the camera was his confessional booth. Every upload carried fragments of his truth, hidden between edits and jump cuts. And then came the video that made his followers shiver. He filmed himself walking through an empty parking lot late at night. The streetlights buzzed overhead, casting long shadows. He looked directly into the lens and muttered, almost too quietly to hear, "I can't keep lying forever." The comments exploded. "This feels like a horror movie. Bro, you're scaring us. Wait, what are you hiding?" What his viewers didn't realize was that the hints weren't random. Each video was part of a buildup, his subconscious way of preparing the world for the truth. The truth that, once spoken, would shatter not only his career, but the lives of everyone connected to him. He wasn't just a vlogger anymore. He was a ticking time bomb. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. The video began like any other. A dimly lit room, the glow of a laptop screen, and the familiar face of a man who had built his identity online. But this time, there were no clickbait titles, no upbeat music, no jump cuts to keep the energy alive. Just silence, long, drawn-out silence. As he sat there, staring into the camera, his subscribers didn't know what to expect. Some thought it was a prank. Others assumed it was another emotional breakdown vlog meant to farm sympathy clicks. But within minutes, they realized this wasn't entertainment. It was a confession. The shocking opening. "I can't do this anymore," he muttered, his voice shaking. "I've been carrying this weight for too long, and it's killing me." At first, his viewers were confused. Carrying what weight? His channel had always been filled with lighthearted content. Travel vlogs, product reviews, pranks. Sure, he had posted the occasional dark rant about stress, but nothing suggested what was about to come. Then he said it. "I killed someone." The words hit like a thunderclap. Within seconds, the chat section of his livestream exploded with disbelief. "Is this real? Bro, what kind of prank is this? This has to be fake." But the look in his eyes told a different story. He wasn't laughing. He wasn't trolling. He was unraveling in real time, laying out the details. As the stream continued, he began to describe a night from 2 years earlier. A night that had never been mentioned in news reports. A night only the killer would know. He described the location, a quiet suburban street. The victim, a man he claimed had wronged him. He detailed the confrontation, the heated argument, and the final moment when everything spun out of control. "I didn't mean for it to happen that way," he said, clutching his head. "I didn't plan it, but I can still see his face every time I close my eyes. I can still hear him begging." His viewers were stunned. Some immediately reported the video to YouTube, thinking it had to be some kind of cruel hoax. Others recorded the stream before it was taken down, ensuring the footage would spread across Reddit, Twitter, and every corner of the internet within hours. The viral frenzy. By morning, hashtags like #YouTubeConfession and #VloggerKiller were trending worldwide. News outlets picked up the story, replaying snippets of the video with headlines like, "YouTuber admits to murder in chilling livestream. True crime or sick stunt?" Internet divided over viral confession. The police were suddenly thrust into the spotlight. At first, they refused to comment, only confirming they were reviewing the matter. But internet sleuths didn't wait for an official response. They dissected every word of the confession, compared it to unsolved cases in the area, and even geolocated the small details he had let slip, like a streetlight in the background or the sound of a nearby train. The armchair detectives were closing in. The internet turns detective. On Reddit, a thread titled "The Vlogger's Murder Confession, Which Case Fits?" quickly became one of the most active forums in true crime communities. Users compiled a list of cold cases, checking them against the timeline he described. One case stood out: the unsolved death of a 32-year-old man found in a deserted alley 2 years earlier. The details matched almost perfectly. The date, the setting, even the victim's final moments. The internet had done what the authorities had not. It connected the dots. But now the pressure was on. If this vlogger was telling the truth, a murderer had just handed himself over to millions of viewers. But if it was all a twisted performance, then the police risked wasting resources chasing a ghost. The backlash. Not everyone believed him. Skeptics argued it was just a desperate stunt for views, an elaborate performance designed to revive his dying channel. After all, YouTube was notorious for creators pulling extreme stunts to grab attention. But others weren't so quick to dismiss it. "If this is fake, it's the sickest thing I've ever seen," one commenter wrote. But if it's real, then he just solved his own case. The divide fueled even more attention, keeping his face plastered across every news feed and TikTok video. Clips of his trembling hands, his tearful confession, and his chilling line, "I killed someone," were played on loop. The turning point. Behind the scenes, law enforcement finally made their move. Using digital forensics, they traced his livestream back to his IP address. Within hours, they had a warrant. As police cars pulled up outside his apartment, neighbors gathered in shock. To them, he was just the quiet guy with the camera, always filming himself in the parking lot or carrying gear up to his room. No one suspected he might be hiding a deadly secret. Inside, officers found him still at his desk, the camera still rolling. "You're here for me, aren't you?" he whispered, almost relieved. The arrest was captured on leaked bodycam footage and circulated online within minutes. The internet had witnessed the confession, and now it would witness the consequences. Cliffhanger for next chapter. The world had heard his words, but the question remained, were they true? Was this really a killer finally cracking under the weight of guilt? Or was it the most elaborate internet hoax in history? As the police launched their investigation, the line between performance and reality blurred, and the world watched, waiting for the truth. The video was up for less than 24 hours before it exploded across the internet. At first, viewers assumed it was just another clickbait stunt. A shocking thumbnail, a dramatic title, and a teary-eyed vlogger desperate for attention. But as they watched, as his words unfolded with trembling sincerity, people began to realize this wasn't staged. This was real. Clips of the confession circulated on Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit. Headlines screamed, "YouTuber admits to murder?" Overnight, the video had millions of views, and strangers across the world began dissecting every second. Internet sleuths slowed down the footage, analyzed his body language, and even tracked background noises in the video, trying to pinpoint his exact location. One Reddit thread gained particular traction. A user noticed a reflection in the window behind him, a faint glow of a neon sign. Locals recognized it immediately, a small diner on the outskirts of town. Suddenly, the confession wasn't just words, it had coordinates. As the police scrambled to keep up, the online world moved at lightning speed. Amateur detectives compared his story against local missing persons cases, zeroing in on one that matched perfectly. A woman who had disappeared months earlier, her case all but cold, suddenly seemed connected to this trembling young man on YouTube. The tension grew thicker by the minute. Was this the rambling of a guilt-ridden man, or the key to solving a murder? The internet wasn't waiting for an answer from authorities. They were already building the case themselves. The comments section turned into a war zone. Some called him brave for speaking the truth. Others condemned him as a monster hiding behind a camera. Theories piled up, timelines were built, and soon, his channel became less about entertainment and more about evidence. For the first time in history, it wasn't just the police closing in, it was the entire online world. And as his subscriber count skyrocketed, one chilling question lingered. Did he really confess because of guilt, or because he wanted the audience all along? The day of his arrest felt more like a spectacle than a police operation. By then, the confession video had been re-uploaded, mirrored, and dissected on countless channels. The world wasn't just watching, they were waiting. Police had confirmed what many internet sleuths had already suspected. The details in his story lined up with a real case. The disappearance of 27-year-old Emily Larson, last seen leaving a friend's house months earlier. Her family had begged for answers, clinging to fading hope. Now, thanks to a trembling video confession, they finally had a name and a face. Officers tracked him down to a rented apartment on the edge of town. But by the time they arrived, live streams were already broadcasting from outside. Neighbors filmed from their windows, YouTubers set up cameras in parked cars, and Twitter users refreshed their feeds by the second. When police finally emerged with him in handcuffs, the crowd erupted. Not in cheers, but in a strange, eerie silence. Phones lit the night sky like flashbulbs, capturing every second. The vlogger who once begged for likes and shares was now the subject of the internet's most chilling viral moment. Even as he was led away, he looked directly into a camera. Some swore they saw a smile flicker across his face. To him, maybe this wasn't punishment, it was the ultimate finale. He had turned his crime into content, his guilt into views, and his downfall into a global event. In the weeks that followed, prosecutors pieced together the evidence, much of it corroborated by his own confession. The jury wouldn't take long. His words had already convicted him in the court of public opinion. But his story left a scar far deeper than the case itself. It raised a terrifying question. In an age where attention is currency, had the lines between confession and performance blurred forever? Did he confess because guilt consumed him, or because he knew that, in the end, the internet would never look away. And so, the vlogger's final upload wasn't just a video. It was a warning. Because if a man can turn murder into content, what comes next? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell.